Alright, it's been about a month since I posted a video, and I doubt anybody's losing any sleep over it, but I've had a couple of messages on Twitter, Instagram, asking what I've been up to, so here I am with a little update. So the last video I posted was when I broke down. I didn't personally break down, my bike broke down in Camberwell on the way home from work, and it was like a charging problem. I had to wait for the AA to come out and jump start it. I could have bump started it. I had a comment where someone said, why didn't you bump start it? I'll refer you back to one of my earlier videos where I tried a bunch of times to bump start the bike when the battery ran flat many months ago, and I'm just rubbish at it. So that's why I didn't bump start it. Waited 2 hours, 3 hours for the AA, and yeah, then it was a charging problem, which I wanted to sort out myself because it's cheaper, but also because I really enjoy doing that kind of thing. But it coincided with us moving flat because we've got a baby on the way, so we need a 2-bed, and it came at a bad time, so the bike was off the road for a few weeks. So here's a little bit about what was wrong with the bike. If you've got a charging problem, for those who don't know, usually it's either the alternator or the rectifier regulator. The alternator is a bunch of coils and some magnets on the crankshaft. They spin inside the coils, generate AC current, and that's pretty much what charges your bike. But your battery can't store AC current, only DC current, so you need a rectifier to change it from AC to DC. And also the kind of amount of power that alternator is putting out varies wildly with how much you rev the engine. So that's the regulator part of the rectifier regulator, or regulator rectifier. It just converts the current to a very constant 14 volts, I think, or thereabouts. If you're ever having charging problems like that, you can get a multimeter to kind of diagnose that issue for about 15 quid from like Maplin or Halfords or somewhere like that. So worth having if you don't have one. I for some reason didn't have one, but it's been so useful figuring out some of these problems, and I definitely recommend picking one up. And just Google your bike, like how to test ER6N regulator rectifier or rectifier regulator, or how to test ER6N alternator, and there's loads of forums and instructions and PDFs and that kind of thing, so it's not really a difficult thing to do. So I figured out that the alternator was fine, rectifier regulator, let's just call it the rectifier for now on for the sake of brevity, that was gone. So I ordered a new one, about 80 or 90 quid off eBay, and it's just something that plugs in basically. You just need to get at it, which is kind of under the front of the saddle on the ER6N, and just plug a new one in. When I took the old one off though, it was pretty obvious what the problem was. The plug sort of socket had loads of water in it, and that had corroded the pins in there, and they'd rusted, and one had got stuck in the kind of like socket end. So fortunately there was enough peeping out that I could take some long nose pliers, pull that out. Otherwise that would have been like a real pain to replace the plug. But fortunately it came out, and the new one, I wrapped the plug in self-amalgamating tape, which was recommended by my dad. And what that is tape that you kind of wrap round and round and round, and after a few hours after you've wrapped it on there, it's quite rubbery. It sort of cures and bonds to itself, so it just becomes one solid piece of rubber that kind of watertights your socket basically. So that was a great tip, and it's super cheap. Pick it up off eBay, as with everything pretty much that I seem to use. And I think it's pretty obvious looking at the bike why it got wet in there, because the rectifier regulator is under the kind of underneath the seat, where it's going to get loads of spray from the back wheel. Even if you've got a hugger, it's going to get soaked into there. So if you look at something like a Triumph Bonneville, it's not in the prettiest place right on the front there, but obviously it needs a lot of airflow to cool down, and it isn't going to get as wet there as if it's getting loads and loads of water flinged on it by the back wheel. So that seems sensible. I've seen them on other bikes as well, mounted just inside the fairing, so under the back wheel there seems like a dumb place to put it. Sorted all that out and waited for the parts and all that kind of thing, and then put it in. and then used the multimeter and checked, and it was all working fine. So that was great, but then my headlight wasn't working. And I had my MOT approaching quite quickly as well. That was just the other week. So I started to kind of panic a bit about that. Used the multimeter to the best of my capacities to figure out that it was probably the relay box, which is located under the petrol tank. They're super expensive for brand new ones, and I just spent, 90 quid on the rectifier. So I scouted around on eBay for a little bit longer and found one for about £20. So that was another job to do. Get the tank off, swap that out, tank back on. Thankfully that sorted it just in time for the MOT. I was pretty much on my last day before it ran out, so if it failed the MOT, then I was going to be kind of scuppered because I'd have to leave it with them. I wouldn't be able to ride it the next day. One thing that a lot of people mentioned when I was making videos about fitting that integrated tail light is that they probably thought it wouldn't pass the MOT because there's a specific line in the MOT sort of guidelines that says that the operation of lights can't affect the operation of other lights. So in a sense, the indicator like obscures half of the brake light and the rear light when you put it on. So I disconnected that before the MOT because I couldn't risk it because I didn't have much longer on the MOT because of the problem with the headlight. So yeah, disconnected that to be safe. So it was just operating as a brake light and rear light. And then the little LED strips underneath, I thought, well, they're a bit low now and there's not really much in the way of indicators on the back. So I had to cut those in half and stick them sort of at the back. It looks really shoddy with some double-sided tape. But thankfully it passed, apart from an advisory for some new rear brake pads. For some reason I got this habit of sort of dragging the back brake a lot when I'm riding around town at low speeds. I think it's from, riding 2 up with my wife before she was pregnant. We used to commute every day and I found it a lot smoother to use a lot of back brake than front brake, and that would send us kind of lurching forward a little bit less. So yeah, got new back brake pads, but that's kind of like best case scenario for the MOT really. But yeah, all between that, I haven't really made any videos. I would normally like to record some of the maintenance stuff that I've been doing and make those kind of maintenance and repairs videos, because those are ones I really enjoy making, but we've just been so busy with the move, and the camera stuff has all been in boxes and the motorbike stuff has all been in boxes, and it was a bit of a scramble to get the bike ready because I wanted to get it MOT'd, and of course I haven't been able to commute on it when it's been, not charging. So yeah, I don't really have anything. I took up a couple of photos that I've put into this video on my phone, but otherwise that's it. What else have I been up to? Made some notes about this video. I also went on like a stag do to Brighton, which was quite heavy, and as a result I was ill for like a whole week after that. Then I had my parents to stay for a bit, and then I went away to Belgium cycling for a weekend, which was amazing. We rode from London to Dover, got the ferry to Dunkirk, rode from Dunkirk to Bruges, had a night there, then from Bruges to Brussels, and then got the Eurostar back that night. Amazing trip, such good beer. Can't recommend Belgium enough. Some of the people who've been subbed for a little bit longer might remember I did a trip to Bruges with my wife on the motorbike earlier this year. It was super cold, I think it was like February, which is a bad idea, but the beer was good that time. So every time you go to Belgium, the beer's good. A few things to sort on the bike soon. I do need to get those indicators sorted out, partly because the double-sided tape might just peel off, but also partly for my own peace of mind because it looks a bit shoddy. And I also noticed the rear brake is sticking, the switch is sticking, so the rear brake light sticks on every now and again. Definitely need to get that switch out and give it a good clean so that that's not happening anymore. So maybe I've got a few maintenance videos coming up in the next few weeks. And also I think I might head to Brighton as well. I think that's in 2 or 3 weeks time. If anyone fancies going, I'll probably ride from somewhere like Blackheath Tea Hut or something like that. Meet there and maybe ride down. Let me know if you're interested and I'll see if we can get a group of people together to go down for the day. Should be awesome. Anyway, hope everybody is well and has been getting plenty of riding in this summer. Always enjoy responding to comments and having a little chat with a few people, so let me know what you've been up to, any big trips and that kind of thing. But yeah, otherwise, catch you soon.